Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us for another segment. We're going to be speaking with Mr. Irwin Stromeyer in this segment. He's the owner of Sterile Space Infection Defence, LLC, and he's joining us to discuss biopreparedness, and he's going to talk a bit about some strategies on how we can protect ourselves from getting viruses. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Irwin Stromeyer. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me on this morning.
Well, owner of Sterile Space Infection Defence, LLC, give us a brief look into your professional background and talk about what sterile space infection is and the services that you provide there.
Well, we are what you would call a public infection prevention and control company. And what that means is, unlike a cleaning service, we go in and do a deep decontamination, a terminal disinfection, and an antimicrobial coating. And what that does, it in essence provides an immune system for an interior space and its contents. Now, when I say in essence, I mean that it helps to limit the survival of infectious organisms on surfaces, which is how we normally get sick, because we touch contaminated surfaces and then we touch our eyes, nose, or mouth, basically our face, and those are the three primary entry points for infection into the human body.
Have you been involved in sterilization or cleaning service? Is that your background, or are you just an entrepreneur who saw an opportunity to meet an unmet need?
Well, if you go back really far in my history, I'm the son of a physician. Okay, when my father became terminally ill back in 2013, and I watched his slow demise until the end of 2015 with numerous different infections, that's when I really got interested in what could I do to try and keep him around as long as possible. And then I started to look into a variety of different things and found that surface infection control was next to non-existent. And that's unfortunate. So I started reading up on it, studying it. I became a certified infection control technician. I have a couple of other certifications in public infection control, and basically, read everything I could get my hands on from CDC, NIH, WHO, and educated myself. My actual educational background is in printing and graphic arts, but I was also in the medical equipment business for like 14 years and worked with doctors and hospitals and veterinarians and learned a lot in there too. But basically, most of this education that I've got now came from other sources than, let's say, a traditional college.
Are you serving simply the medical community, medical facilities, or any facility that is in need of sterilization for whatever reason?
Well, first of all, let's clarify a legal word of sterilization, okay? A lot of people think that word means a variety of different things, but it has a very specific legal meaning for use in the sterilization and preparation of surgical instruments and implants to make sure that there is no type of contamination of any kind on them when they are used in surgery with the human body, okay? What we call it is decontamination, terminal disinfection, and antimicrobial coating. The other words that you could use in there would be sanitization, okay? And the thing is that it's important to keep that distinction because people like the FDA and the EPA can sometimes be very critical of how you use words in making public health claims, and that's an absolute no-no. And just an example of a health claim that would be illegal, and I'm not saying my company does this, is to say that by using XYZ company services that no one will get sick in your space anymore. That would be an outright lie and absolutely impossible to achieve. So what we do is our service not only prepares the surfaces in somebody's space, but treats them with a solution that inhibits the survival and colonization of survival of germs and colonization by those germs because it inhibits their ability to survive.
How long does decontamination last typically? This coating, is it blown away by the air? Does it absorb? Does it disintegrate?
Excellent question. There are two basic types of antimicrobials, leaching and non-leaching. And leaching means that you spray it on a surface and it dries on the surface. But I mean, if you ran your fingers through it or you brushed your shirt sleeve against one of the coated surfaces, it could come off because it's not bonded to that surface. Okay? So a non-fugitive coating would be something that sticks to the surface. And in this case, we use one that has a covalent bond, which is a form of a molecular bond. So with an absolutely decontaminated, clean, germ-free surface, it bonds to that surface with a covalent bond and resides there until it is worn off through long-term friction abrasion. It's not like spraying a commercial product and then somebody can wipe it off when they come clean it.
And is this done, I suppose, periodically, maybe every 3 weeks, every month or something, depending on the traffic?
We actually issue a written warranty of the efficacy of our service to be valid for 12 months from date of service.
12 months. 12 months.
Yes. The manufacturer of the coating we use, and this is not the only coating of its kind. There are several different kinds, several different formulations. Some of them can last on a surface anywhere from a few days to quite a long time. However, the EPA, I do not believe they allow any company to make a claim for their specific product for more than, I think, 3 to 6 months, if I remember correctly. But we go in and we enforce our own warranty by testing the surfaces periodically in a client's facility over the course of a year. And we use chemical indicators to show us if the coating is still present on the surface. And we also test the surfaces randomly with what you could call a germ meter. It's technically called an ATP meter, to see if there are any biologics on the surface.
Well, let's talk a bit about your staff. Is there any special training or education necessary to do what you do? And if so, does that special training and education transfer over to the client who may be used to simple cleaning, not necessarily the deep dive that you do?
Fantastic question. Okay. When I started this business back in 2013, so just to let you know, we're not a pandemic pop-up profiteer. I've been doing this since 2013. All right. I sought out education in this field because credentials are very important when you're talking about public health issues. Okay. So there's a company out there that trains operating room nurses, trains surgical center nursing staff on proper infection control technique and procedures. They also have a class that is not quite as intense with all the epidemiology for the child care industry, and it's used in many states, one of them being New York. You can't even push a broom in a child care center in the state of New York unless you've taken this class and passed it and have the certificate. So I did that very early on in my career. I think I got mine sometime in early 2015. And I now require all of my employees to get the same exact training and certifications that I have. Because unlike, say, a cleaning company, which we are absolutely, positively not a cleaning company, okay, they hire a lot of staff, and some of them are trained well and some of them aren't. But none of them, to my knowledge, are trained like my people are. Every one of my people can do each other's jobs, no problem, and they have 6 months to get certified once they come to work for me.
Well, give us a website where we can learn a lot more about your company and about the services that you offer.
It is www.sterile, STERILE, followed by the word space, SPACE.com, www.sterilespace.com. If anybody wants to reach me by email, it's Irwin, IRWIN, @sterilespace.com. And if anybody would like to call and ask questions about the service, they can reach me directly at 973-714-8288.
Irwin, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much. This has been very informative, and I'm hoping that we'll get an opportunity to speak again.
Anytime you're ready, just let me know.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Irwin Stromeyer, owner, Sterile Space Infection Defence, LLC. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Listen in, download at SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.